Welcome to the Thursday press conference ahead of this weekend's Bahrain Grand Prix. Joining us from left to right, we have Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, Pierre Gasly and Daniel Kvyat. Lando, if we could start with you, please. 2 weeks on, how do you reflect on your Grand Prix debut in Melbourne?
I mean, if I look back now from how the whole weekend went, it was better than I anticipated going into the whole weekend. I mean, during you obviously change how you think you can do, and after qualifying 8th, which was awesome for my first quali, I ended up 12th in the race, which obviously was a bit disappointing. But overall, I don't think there was many things I did wrong overall. A couple of bits here and there, obviously the start, and a couple of bits in the middle of the race. But for my first weekend, I don't think I could have asked for much more.
The car seemed more competitive over one lap in qualifying than it was in race conditions. Do you think that's going to play out this weekend as well? Is it a characteristic of the car?
I don't think so much. I mean, I don't think our race pace overall, apart from the very end of the race, was too bad. I lost a couple of positions in turn 1. So I was still P10, and I think my pace in the first stint on the softs was reasonably good, keeping up with the guys ahead. But I just got a bit unfortunate with the middle. I didn't get past Antonio as quickly as what the others did, and that put me back in terms of results. So I don't think our pace was a problem. I don't think it's a lot worse than our quali pace. It's just it didn't go as cleanly as what qualifying did.
And reflecting on 12 months ago here in Bahrain, great victory for you, great weekend. What's the goal this time around?
Well, I would love to do the same, but I don't think that's a very realistic goal. Obviously, it started the season off very well last year, and as much as I would love to have a similar result as what I did last year, I know that's an unrealistic aim for this weekend. So I think we just got to take it one step at a time. So first time in Formula 1 here, so it's going to be a bit different, but hopefully we can have a kind of a weekend like we did in Australia, a good qualifying, and that can set us up a bit better for the race, and I can just work on the things that I didn't get so well.
Well, good luck this weekend. Thank you, Lando. Daniel, if we could come on to you now, please. You scored a point on your Formula 1 return in Australia. How satisfying was that?
Yeah, I think it was a good race for us all the weekend. Also, we've been quite competitive. It was good to know, that we are in the mix. The midfield is very tight this year, so we were definitely in the fighting mix. And yeah, the race itself was quite a lot of action. So in the end, to score the point at the end of the first race of the season is always good. And we just look ahead. Here is a different kind of circuit, so we see what we can achieve here now.
Tell us a little bit more about the car. How competitive is it? What are its greatest strengths?
It's hard to say just one strength or weakness. It's just that everyone seems to be very close in midfield, so you have to have a really good weekend always. Seems like if you lose just a couple of tenths, you can lose already a few positions, so you always need to be working on putting everything together. Otherwise, it's you can, instead of entering maybe in Q3, you can end up not entering and be maybe P14, P15. So it's a tight midfield, and it's good to know that it is. So it seems like there will be opportunities for everyone.
Now, it's been a while since we've had you in an FIA press conference, because last year, of course, you were working with Ferrari. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you got up to in 2018 with the team and what you learned?
Well, obviously, it was obviously I wanted to race, but it was very good to be part of such a team like Ferrari. It was great to see also Sebastian and Kimi working from very close. Still a lot of simulator work. They always kept me busy. It was very nice. Learning, I think it was best that I managed to stay close to the F1 world in a way. And I tried to do my job just as good as possible to help the team to achieve the best result possible. And it was a very good experience.
Thank you, Daniel, and good luck to you this weekend. Pierre, if we could come on to you now, please. It was a tough weekend for you in Australia. but how much encouragement did you take from Max's performance?
I would say the overall performance during the weekend was good. Good start looking at the practice and also the Q1. I think the overall pace was looking promising, and yeah, for sure, what's happened in qualifying really put us on the back foot for the race, and on a track like this made the final result pretty poor and clearly not what we wanted. So no, it was a pretty tough weekend to accept, because I think we deserved clearly a better result on Sunday, but yeah, things didn't go as we would have liked, and yeah, we just need to make sure we have a clean weekend. But I think clearly the performance from Max is really positive for everybody in the team, for Honda. Really happy for Honda to get their first podium, and yeah, it's looking pretty positive for the coming races.
It seemed like you got called out by the track evolution in Q1 in Australia, so can we expect a different approach to qualifying this weekend from you and the team?
I think, yeah, we have better idea of the performance of all the teams and on the grid, and I think we could see basically all the teams got a bit closer overall compared to last year. So I think we have a bit more information, and yeah, we'll probably be more careful. But let's see how the performance is. You know, from one track to another can be quite different. I think Bahrain is more back to kind of normal track, and yeah, let's see how the weekend goes.
Well, it was a normal track on which you went very well last year, of course. What chance to repeat this weekend, or indeed going better than fourth?
Yeah, we'll go for the best we can. I think we saw in Australia with a competitive car in quali and also in the race. So yeah, for sure, Mercedes and Ferrari look really strong. But I think the most important, if we manage to put everything together, we should get a good shot at having a good result this weekend.
Thanks, Pierre, and good luck to you over the rest of this weekend. Thanks. Charles, if we could come to you now, please. We're getting used to seeing you in red, but it was only your first race for Ferrari 2 weeks ago. How do you reflect on that, and can you just talk us through some of the emotions you felt back in Melbourne?
To be completely honest, the emotions, I didn't really feel them, because obviously when you're at a race, you are focusing on the job you have to do in the car, and that's what I try to do the most possible. It was not an easy weekend. Obviously, after the Barcelona testing, we expected more, but on the other hand, I think there was a lot of positives to take. And anyway, Melbourne is not such a representative track on car performance, even though that doesn't mean we are as strong as we want to. But yeah, there's a lot of work to do, and I'm pretty confident in the team that we have done the right job in between Melbourne and here to try and improve. And also on my side, I think I did quite a bit of mistakes in qualifying and during the race, and I will try to not repeat these mistakes.
They weren't totally obvious to us watching those mistakes. Can you elaborate on what they were?
Well, in Q3, I think I didn't put the lap in as I wanted to, and then in the race, I think you have seen the off on the TV. It didn't have any consequences on the results, because obviously I was fifth and there was nobody behind, and there was nothing to gain from it. But in other situations, it could have been a lot worse. So I need to work on this. Now,
you finished nearly a minute back on the man who's on your left up on the podium. Was it a particular issue with the car in Melbourne? How did it feel? Did it feel well balanced, or do you think it was just track specific and you expect to be more competitive this weekend?
We expect to be more competitive. I think our package is strong. We have some answers to the lack of performance in Melbourne. I don't think we have all of them, but we definitely have some answers to it. Then we'll only see here whether it was only track specific or if there's something else. But I'm pretty confident in the package we have.
Okay, well, good luck this weekend. Thanks for your time, and thank you for waiting, Valtteri. Well, you're the championship leader for the first time in your career. How does that feel?
Yeah, for sure, feels good. But it's only one race of the season, and now the full focus is to this weekend.
You said after the race in Melbourne that the car felt amazing. How confident are you of a repeat in Bahrain this weekend?
Honestly, it is quite difficult to say. For sure, we were all positively surprised on the performance we had in Melbourne. But like Charles said, it is a bit of a funny circuit. And I would say here this weekend and China, we're going to get much better picture of the real performance at this point of the year. But obviously, it was very welcome for us to see that kind of pace. And the feeling with the car was a lot better than in winter testing. So obviously, the time spent between was very efficient. So yeah, see how it feels here.
You said after the race that it was the best race of your career. Why do you think that was? Is it because this year's Mercedes suits you better than either of the previous two?
It must be the beard.
Must be the beard.
Yeah,
okay.
no, honestly, it really felt after the race that yeah, it was one of the best or my best race. You know, obviously the start of the race was the key to get into the lead, but after that I did no mistakes and everything was very much under control. And when you feel you're performing at your best, it's a beautiful feeling, and just need to try and keep the momentum and feel that again soon.
Do you feel more comfortable in this Mercedes than anything else you've driven?
For sure, every car is always a bit different, and in the end, you as a driver need to be the one that compensates yourself to the car to get most out of the package. But yeah, I would say when testing in Melbourne, everything started on the right foot. I never felt anything odd with the car. For sure, there's things we can still improve, but yeah, I feel comfortable in the car.
Okay, thank you, Valtteri. Good luck to you this weekend. Let's open this to the floor now. And as ever, please remember to give your name and publication. First question, please.
Thank you. Eric Bilderman from L'Equipe. Question to Pierre and Charles. How did you manage to deal with frustration after the first race? When I mean frustration is for Charles that you couldn't go to have a proper fight with your teammate, and to Pierre that you were expected with Red Bull to make points. That was not the case.
Charles, if we could start with you.
Yeah, there was no frustration on my side. Obviously, it is the first race, but there was, on the team side, I don't think there was anything to gain, whether I was fourth and Seb fifth, or me fifth and Seb fourth. It was exactly the same amounts of points for the team, so it's understandable that they didn't want to take the risk for us to fight each other and to lose even more points. So yeah, it was like this, and I understand the decision.
Thank you. And Pierre?
Yeah, so yeah, of course, as I said, it was yeah, quite tough to end up with that result after the promising free practice, and we showed some good pace in FP2 and FP3, and yeah, at the end of the weekend, not to score point with the package we had for sure was difficult, but we know the reasons, and yeah, we'll try to do our best to make sure we have a clean weekends, because the package is working well. Yeah.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Jerome Pugma, Associated Press. Question for Valtteri. There's been a lot of talk about how you're much more determined this year, and you've come back much stronger, much more focused than you perhaps were last year. That question was posed to Lewis, and he said he sees no difference because he always considered you to be competitive and a strong driver. But would you say that there definitely has been a change in mindset from you this year, and that Melbourne was a proof of that, or is it too early to say?
Well, for sure, it's if you look at the results, it's obviously very early in the season. It's one race, so but I can for sure say that something in my mindset has changed for the year. The preparation over the winter and just the way of how I feel and think about things have changed, and it's quite difficult to explain in detail, but I feel different to years before.
Thank you. And the beard, obviously. Next question, please.
Heikki Kulta, Turun Sanomat. Valtteri, how would you rank this circuit? Is it in the same group with Russia and Austria, in your mind?
I mean, it's normally been quite a strong race for me, but obviously every year is a new race, and you still need to qualify well. and I think racing here this year might be a bit better in terms of overtaking with the new DRS zone. So I think still ultimately the race pace is going to be important, but it's been a strong race for me personally in the past, and yeah, I can rate it quite well on my list, but obviously the aim is to approach every weekend knowing and aiming to be on top of your game and not to have any bad races anyways.
Thank you. Next one.
Kate Walker, New York Times. Question for Charles and for Valtteri. The next Grand Prix weekend in China is going to be our 1000th F1 Grand Prix. I was wondering if you could tell me, of those 1,000 races, whether you were racing or whether you were watching as a fan, what's your favourite memory?
Valtteri, if we could start with you.
If I have to choose one now, I could feel the happiness at home looking at the TV of the driver. It was Mika's first win in '97 in the last race of the year. And obviously then he went and won a couple of titles, so I would say that was my favorite.
And Charles?
My side, I'll probably be a bit selfish, and maybe Monaco is my best memory because it was my first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix last year, so it was something special. And to be completely honest, I haven't watched that many Grand Prix at TV because I was always out racing in karting. So yeah, Monaco last year was my best memory.
Thank you. Next question.
Ubay Zakkar, autosportme.com. My question is to Charles. How could you describe the mood or the atmosphere at Ferrari after the first race? And also, is there a fundamental issue with the car or just a matter of finding the perfect balance?
I think the mentality is the right one, and we need to keep this one throughout the whole year. Mentality is very positive. Obviously, we are aware there's a lot of work to do, but I'm pretty confident, as I said, in the team that they will do everything to improve the car. I don't think there's any fundamental issues in the car concept. I'm pretty confident in that too. It's just about fine-tuning, obviously, in as I said before, I don't think is the real performance of the car what we have shown in Australia, and I think we are all quite confident that we can be better already from here in Bahrain. But yeah, as I said, the mentality is very good in the team, and we need to keep the spirit. We are all working as a team and all working together, and this is a good thing to see.
Thank you. Next one.
Luis Vasconcelos, Formula Press for all five. Valtteri already mentioned that overtaking is probably going to be easier this weekend. There's 3 DRS zones. Is that going to affect the strategy you're going to have for the race, and is this the way you want racing to go, with more DRS zones?
Lando, haven't heard from you for a while. What are your thoughts?
I think it will affect it slightly. I mean, you obviously have more chances of overtaking, so you know, you would say a 2-stop strategy could be a better chance than trying to do that in Australia, say. So I think, and hopefully it will cause teams to choose more different strategies, basically, which can hopefully lead to more overtaking, more action, which is always a nice thing for a driver, but it's hard to say. You know, I didn't drive last year, so I don't know how much better or worse this aero package is compared to last year. You know, some people have said it's better. Some people have said it's the same or worse, or not worse, but or the same as previous years. So I think we have to have overtaking, and I think Bahrain as a track is definitely better than Australia to overtake anyway, even without DRS zones. But I think nowadays, you know, it's so hard to overtake in general. DRS is one of few ways to be able to cause or lead to action and overtaking. So I think you're going to have it, but 3 DRS zones is quite a bit. So yeah, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of overtaking and action this weekend. And it's not the most natural way and the best way to do it, but it's what we got to do, I guess.
Charles, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, you can afford to drop back in the standing for an extra stop and have the chance to overtake after, again, easier. Already in the past, I think it was quite an easy track to overtake on with 2 at the DRS zone, so with 1 more it can only be easier. So yeah, it will change a little bit the strategy. Yeah, that's it.
Valtteri, anything to add?
No, I think I said it's going to be a bit easier, but yeah.
Pierre?
I think they summed it up pretty well. Yeah, probably you can go with a more aggressive strategy with that extra DRS zone if it's easier to overtake. And no, I think the more action you can give us, the better it is after. If there is also other way to overtake without DRS will be nice as well if we are able to follow each other and just have more action thanks to that. And that will be the best way, but I think immediately that's the only thing we can change is the DRS zone. So if it brings some more show, I think everybody's going to be happier.
Thanks. And Daniel, anything you want to add?
I think there's always good racing in Bahrain, so let's just wait and see for the race.
Okay. Next question.
Homura Wari Masahiro. Question to Pierre and Daniel. You had a problem in the Melbourne at the start. You didn't see a start signal. Could you please explain more details? So which signal did you see? Or did you request to FIA something, anything? And
yeah.
So Daniel, so you started similar position. So how about you?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically it was pretty messy start because I was maybe I don't know if it was my position, but I think Russell behind me had the same problem and Kubica as well. But basically the lights were right behind Daniel's rear wing, so I could not see the red lights. And in the formation lap, they pulled the car back so I could see them. And then as I got in my position for the race start, basically I was looking for them. And also the lights on the side are really forward on the grid. So yeah, basically I had no idea. So I just started to release the clutch when I saw the others moving. But yeah, clearly wasn't ideal. And I think they are planning to maybe raise a bit the starting lights because I think that's going to be an issue probably on other tracks as well.
Thank you. Daniel?
I could see everything, so maybe you should try to look up.
Maybe because you're taller.
Maybe next time.
I think it's better than to start in this position anymore, and that will be the easiest way.
Okay, next one, please.
Abdurrahman Al-Sahaf, University College of Bahrain. Question to Valtteri, what advice would you give to an aspiring F1 driver?
Never give up. It's obviously not one of the easiest sports to get into, but it's possible. You know, there's as a kid, obviously there was many people who say when your goal is to get into Formula 1 and be successful in Formula 1, they tell you that it's impossible, but seeing the possibility in things, that can be the strength. Obviously, there's many factors to be a driver, but I mean, you never know. I guess the main thing as a kid when you're doing it is to enjoy it, and normally then rest will sort itself out one way or another.
I wonder if we could just open this question to Lando as well. You're a rookie. Anything you could add?
I would agree with what Valtteri says, to be honest. It's obviously a long journey. It's not quick, and you can't just change from, or I'm sure very few can change from one sport to the other, but I think a lot of hard work and dedication is what I think all drivers here and all drivers on the grid have put into racing. But a similar comment in terms of never giving up, because sometimes it can seem quite far out of reach. And then all of a sudden, you can be in Formula 1. You can have a contract with a team. So, similar comments, and determination, hard work, and not giving up. And yeah, many other people have done it. Although it's a very tough sport to get into, and there's only 20 in the world who can do it. yeah, I think never giving up and that is probably one of the best words to describe it.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Any more? No more questions. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. And a full transcript of this press conference will be available shortly at FIA.com.
Sky Sports F1. Feel it all.